I'm going to keep it very brief. So those of you who bet it to be high, tough luck. First of all, I wanted to welcome you all. It is lovely to see you all here. I know many of you, but equally there are many I don't know. I think it's one of the great things about weddings that you have the chance to meet so many different people that perhaps you wouldn't otherwise have come into contact with. There's one thing we can say, that none of you have actually been under the same roof together before. So please take advantage of this to mingle and talk to each other. And if you don't know who people are, go up to them and say, "Who are you?" So that's the first thing. Welcome. I know many of you have come from far away. I believe the furthest is Algeria. Is that right? But from all quarters of the UK as well. It is lovely to see you here. Right. I wanted to welcome Pete to the family. We're quite a small family, or at least we were until today. When I first met Pete, I knew there was something special about him. He was the first of Sarah's boyfriends who had been able to explain particle colliders to me. He was also the first person I had ever met who supported Tranmere Rovers. Seriously though, I think Peter and Sarah make a great partnership. I was talking to Sarah last night, and Sarah said she was missing Pete. And I said, "Well, he's only been gone for 2 hours." And she said, "Yes, but I was feeling stressed, and when I feel stressed, it's Pete that I want to have at my side." So I do think that they are made for each other, and I think they will have a wonderful marriage together. I'd like you to join me in a toast to the bride and groom. The bride and groom. I'm ever so sorry, I didn't use the microphone. Did everyone hear me? Good. Well, I'm now going to hand the microphone. I'm now going to hand the microphone over to the groom.
I'll try to do that one. Thank you, Paul. That was an excellent speech, and I want to start by saying thanks to you and the whole Thompson clan, Katie, Paul and Tom, for making me feel so welcome as part of the family. We have already been through a lot together, and it's comforting to know that we have such a great support network behind us. So thanks. I know from having a daughter myself, Flo, wherever she is, who is missing, so you know. I know you must feel very protective of Sarah, and making a speech at the wedding must be a big deal. And I look forward to making the same speech at Flo's wedding in years to come. Although probably like you, Paul, I'm hoping she picks a better groom as well. I want to also give special thanks to my own parents, Les and Phil. Les, you did my washing for years, even when I didn't live in the same house as you.
I did.
And Phil, you've been my DIY guru and my childhood living rugby coach for years. I don't think I could have had a better and happier, more supportive upbringing. So from my wife and I, I'd like to say thank you to both sets of parents. Insect. Before I move on to the soppy bit and talking about Sarah, I'll round up all the rest of our thank yous. So once again, thank you to both mothers. You've baked, stitched, shopped, painted, babysat, everything to get us here. And a special thanks to Katie for baking the cake. So we have for you for you.
Thank you, Pete.
Where are they? Thank you to the boys, Ryan, Connor and Jacob. Where's Jacob?
Where's Cakey?
Where's Jacob?
Oh, present, Jacob.
They're wearing their smart suits and they've looked after the bridesmaids very well. I think they'll agree. I'll go to you.
Oh, here he comes.
Oh, he's coming.
Yay! Woo!
Wow.
We need to say thank you to Trevor the judge and Corrie, wherever they are. Yay. They drove us to the venue in their flash car. You
Shall I
can say
go?
that.
I'll go.
You go. Let us arrive in style. A big thanks to Sue, the caterer, and Chapman Holmes. And thank you to my sisters, Jo and Emma. Where's Jo's and Emma's? That's Emma. Where's Jo?
There's something else for Joe.
And it's actually Joanne's birthday today, so I'd like you to start singing with me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joe. Happy birthday to you.
Tell them what it is. Joe? Ask her to tell us what it is.
No, she's all right. And a final thank you to all the bridesmaids, to Deirdre, Jo and Sophie, who I'm sure you'll all agree look lovely, who've already had their gifts on their arms, so show your gifts. And in where's your bracelet? Oh,
And we got it.
We
okay.
got this.
So, in keeping with tradition, I would like to propose a toast to them. So, ladies and gentlemen, will you please be upstanding and raise your glasses to the bridesmaids. Everybody down.
Coming back.
Pardon? Are you sitting there? So now, on to Sarah. I met Sarah exactly 3 years ago today. It was the 10th of May, 2010. We previously made first contact on Match.com, a dating website. On my profile picture, I had a gigantic moustache, and Sarah had a photo of herself jumping out of a plane. Not with a moustache. So you can see we tried not to take ourselves too seriously. We typed to each other for a few hours before agreeing to meet up. We got on well from the start, a quiet lunch for our first date, an aerial assault course for our second date, climbing various mountains and lots of camping followed. Our romance was relatively slow starting. It wasn't a flash in the pan, but soon accelerated and ramped up In fact, it ramped up so much that after 7 months together, we decided we wanted to make a big commitment to each other. Instead of getting married, we moved in together and had a baby. And there's Flo. We pride ourselves in doing things our own way, by our own rules and being slightly strange. Which brings me on to a few lines on love. We are all a little weird, and life's a little weird. And when we find somebody whose weirdness is compatible with ours, we join up with them and fall in mutual weirdness and call it love. Meeting Sarah is the best thing that could have ever happened to me. She is kind, ravishingly beautiful. She's smart, funny and generous.
Yes, I am.
My life...
Yes. Yes, I did.
My life has been entirely transformed from before we met. And whilst it's a lot harder work, I feel more complete than at any time in my life before.
Now I do your washing, not your mum.
We are now a family of 2 adult humans, 1 human infant, 1 dog, 2 cats and 6 fish, which is exactly the way I want it. We are both a pair of complete weirdos. We are madly entangled in our weird love. Lastly, it's my great pleasure to hand you over to my best man, Tim. Pardon? I've known Tim since we were 10, and he's been there for me through good times and bad. He put on an awesome stag do for me in the cultural mecca known as Magaluf. So Tim, here's a small gift to say thank you for being my best man. And a final word of warning. It's traditional for the best man to tell embarrassing stories about the groom, but I would caution you not to believe everything he says. It's like my old granny taught me, you should never trust a ginger man.
I'll take the microphone and try it with the...
Okay.
I'll try it with a microphone. So, for those of you who don't know me, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tim, and today I'm Pete's best man. The others didn't choose to use a microphone, the speeches were fairly short. For those that have met my wife will know that the next 15 minutes I will love the fact that I won't be interrupted. I couldn't help but notice, as Mike went round the room, there was an obvious cough going on, and from what we gathered, it was for the total length of the 3 speeches. It looked like as you started, it was to the nearest minute, and with about 100 of you there, not many of you stand a very good chance of getting those high numbers, so to increase your chances, I'd like to start with a brief history of Tranmere Rovers. In 1884, Tranmere Rovers started as 2 cricket clubs and were known as Belmont FC. By 1885, they took on the name Tranmere Rovers. In their first season, they only lost 1 game. Now, to present day, from the start of the season till January, Tranmere were once again top of the league. When the season finished, we managed to lose 12 out of the last 13 games and finished 10th. But seriously, I hope you can all hear me with a microphone. But Peter Treading props. I also hope you have the ability to see what I have as well. So, firstly, on behalf of everyone here, I would like to say congratulations to Sarah and Pete. And thank you, most of all, for making us take a day off work to be here. This is, in fact, the second wedding speech I've made. For the first wedding, the bridegroom was one of those sickeningly handsome guys. The bride was very lucky. That young man to this day hasn't lost any of his charm. But that's enough about me. I've been told that the best man on my wedding day was today's bridegroom, Pete. So I've been told this speech should be much more about him today. Today is all about the happy couple, and as best man, it's my job to have a few certain people. Talk about the role and duties of the best man, and give Pete a little bit of a hard time. And finally, to toast the happy couple. So here we go. On behalf of the bridesmaids, I'd like to thank Pete for kind words speech and gifts you presented. I would also like to thank you all, guests, relatives, for making it here today. I know from what Pete said earlier, some of you have travelled an awful long way. I always find it amazing when that's people go to for a free meal and a glass of wine. But seriously, I've heard several best man speeches over the last few years, and they all seem to blatantly, disgracefully set out to demolish the character of the groom. And frankly, I see no reason why this speech should be any different. But before I do, I'd like to thank the bridesmaids for getting Sarah here today. Rumour is she put up quite a bit of a struggle. I can now see she wants at least two of you by her side. I couldn't help but notice that Dee and Joan have played a few strategically placed page boys and flower girls at the exits to block any exit route she may take. However, the main vote of thanks today goes to Pete for admitting, at long last, I am indeed the best man. Best wishes to both of you, and Pete, it's been said that marriage is a 50-50 partnership. And I hope that you realise that anyone who believes that knows very little about moving forward fractions. I hope he knows how lucky he is, and he will leave here today genuinely having gained a wife who's beautiful, smart, funny, warm, loving and caring. And Sarah, how lucky you are as well. When you leave today, you'll have gained a gorgeous dress and a bouquet of flowers. One of my roles as best man is to make sure that Pete got here today in one piece, preferably on time, and as you can see, he waited. Apart from that important task, the best man's duties are numerous and diverse. Obviously, one of the most important is to ensure the groom's respectable appearance. But hey, I can only work with what I'm given. Seriously though, I hope your all is polished up quite nicely and looks rather dashing. Anyway, let me tell you some things about Pete. Peter Andrew Culbert was born in August 1980. He went to St Saviour's Primary School on the Wirral, close to the church we got married in today. And at 10 years old, he sat and passed 11 plus, as did I, and some of the other handsome chaps I see around the room today. Being Tim Clixby, I was third in the register, and Peter Corlett was fourth. So most classes, we got to sit together. Now, back in 1991, the internet had only really just become available at home, and computers were reserved for us nerds. How times have changed. He was probably 17 or 19 at the time. As we grew up, Pete spent a lot of time looking at women on the internet. So it was no real surprise when he mentioned that Sarah he had met online, although I'm pretty sure Sarah wasn't on the website he was looking at back then. Pete and I shared many similar interests and support the same football team, Tranmere Rovers. And 22 years on, we still sit next to each other at each match. When we were kids, we used to play computer games against each other, and we gave ourselves what nowadays are called gamer tags or nicknames. Being 11, looking back, a bit childish, I thought being called Magic Hands was hilarious. And Pete used to call himself Sam. Now, we still play games online when children are allowed, but since then our gamer tags have changed. We've obviously grown up a lot since then. So now my gamer tag is simply Clixby. And Pete is known as Captain Mom. Pete has always been very relaxed on the exterior, but can often be quite nervous on the inside, and he's indeed the master of the understatement. I remember one night we went for a pint in Berrington where we lived, and said to him one evening, "Have you got much planned this week or coming up next month?" "Not really. I've got to go to Afghanistan with a TA for a few months." He was calm as you like, genuinely didn't bat an eyelid at all. In 2008-2009, Pete went to Afghanistan, which is something I'm very proud of. We have a great group of friends from school, and I remember fondly going to Neil and Lucy's wedding with Pete. We're both real suckers for gadgets, and after a few beers, Pete decided it would be a great idea to bid on a car on eBay. Pete quickly placed his bid before we went over the wedding reception. The car, he said, was in Bradford, just a couple of hours driving. When we got to the reception, Pete looked down at his phone to discover he had no signal at all on his phone. So as soon as the wedding reception was over, we dashed outside to find that Pete had in fact been the winning bidder of the car. All we had to do was to drive to Bedford to collect it. Yes, Bedford near London, a mere 8-hour round trip to collect his car. For Pete's stag do, we went to Magaluf. Yes, we thought we were clever. 32 years old, going to Magaluf. But hey, from Thursday to Saturday, just 2 nights and 3 days, how far could it go? Pete took it all in great spirits and looked like he quite enjoyed being dressed up as a baby. We still don't know where the outfit went, so if I was Sarah, I'd be a little worried. We thought we'd have a fight in our hands trying to embarrass him. Within 20 minutes, he was at a bar singing Hero by Enrique Iglesias on the karaoke and being whipped by a vicious barmaid. Oddly, we hadn't arranged any of it. I personally had this great plan to make him drink ridiculous amounts of alcohol, which he did. But the problem was, so did I. And being a dad of 3, I don't get to drink that often. I'm reliably informed that Frightenhead was good too, but embarrassingly I was so hungover I didn't make it out at all, and I handed my man badge back behind the bar. I'd like to think that Pete and I tell each other everything, some of which of course are not suitable for a wedding speech, but I did have to stop myself today from shouting out at the church when the vicar asked, does anyone have a reason why Pete and Sarah can't be married? Something was nagging at me. Pete's other love in life, but it just wasn't the time. However, after a glass of pure champagne, I feel like I can share it with you all now. Pete has harboured a love for years. For the boy band McFly. It's true, but today, Pete, it's not all about you. It's about you and Sarah. Despite all the things I've said about Pete, he is one of my oldest and certainly one of my best friends. I know that my character assassination on stage is slightly exaggerated. When we were growing up, he was always there for me when I was with him. I'm very proud to call him my friend. Pete, after all these good years I've known you, you deserve such good fortune. And you definitely got it today marrying Sarah. Pete has understandably been a bit worried about the whole marriage thing, so as his best friend, and more importantly a married man myself, I took him inside and said, Pete, you'll look back on today as the happiest day of your life. And that was yesterday. Sarah, always remember that men are like a fine wine. They start out like little grapes, and it's your job to stamp all over them until they mature into something you'd like to have dinner with. I've got some messages for some family and friends who weren't able to be with us today. The first message I have is from Fish, a friend from school. Pete and Fish spent a good few months ago in 2003 travelling in Australia. But Fish went as a holiday and is yet to return. That was 11 years ago. Now, for anyone that knows Fish, he's developed a thick Aussie accent and certainly picked up the lingo, so I've had to filter most of what he suggested I said today. But the message from Fish is, hey Shakes and Sarah, I'm sorry we can't be with you to enjoy the hangover tomorrow. Congratulations to you both. We wish you all the happiness of the future. P.S. I'm going to shave that bloody beard off you when I see you next month. I've got a message from Iris Bennett, Sarah's grandmother, who asked me to read the following. One of the things I remember best about Sarah was her hanging upside down from a tree in the back garden. Although I'm sure she doesn't do that anymore. Although she was generally a nice little girl, she would always refuse to share her crisps with anybody. I'm so sorry that I can't be with you there today, but I hope you have a fantastic day. And I wish Sarah and Pete a long and happy marriage. Lots of love from Nana. And the last message I had today is from Vicky Logan. Congratulations, Sarah and Pete. Sorry we couldn't be with you on this very, very special day. we're so very happy for you both. All the very best from Vicky, Pete, Paige and Brandon. You'll be on Pride Watch on Thursday. Seriously though, Pete, it really has been an honour and a privilege to be your best man today. And to say how lucky you are to have married Sarah. You found someone very caring, loving and smart. She's the perfect match for you any day of the week. But Sarah, well, you found Pete. But finally, I thought we should maybe all perhaps bear in mind is that marriage is not about finding someone you can live with, it's about someone you can't live without. Sarah's asked me to mention, for anyone who hasn't already, please do take us some Polaroid pictures. Remember to shake the pictures well, stick it in the book, and leave a message for everyone. But it now gives me, eventually, immense pleasure, not to mention relief, to invite you all to stand and raise your glass to the new Mr. and Mrs. Cole. To the bride and groom. Thank you.